Hey guys, it's Bonnie. Today I am coming at you with my summer reading wrap up. Summer is finally over, thank God. If you don't know, instead of doing monthly wrap ups, I am doing seasonal wrap ups. So at the end of every season, I will let you know what I read, give it a star rating, and then at the end of the video, I will talk about my least favorites that I read during this season and my two favorites. If you would like a more in-depth view of my thoughts on these books, you can check out my weekly reading blogs. I will try to link all the videos down below with the corresponding books. So let's get started. First off, with what I read in June, we have Wonder Woman by Leigh Bardugo, which I gave 4 stars. Just One Day by Gail Forman, which I gave 5 stars. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, which I gave 4.5 stars. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, which I gave 4 stars. How to Love by Katie Cotugno, which I gave 3.5 stars. Moxie by Jennifer Batu, which I gave 4 stars. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which I gave 3.5 stars. Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson, which I gave 4 stars. Furthermore by Tahira Mafi, which I gave 4 stars. Then to kick off July, I read Bright We Burn by Kirsten White, which I gave 5 stars. An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, which I gave 4.5 stars. A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahira Mafi, which I gave 4 stars. The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater, which I gave 4 stars. Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, which I gave 4.5 stars. What Happened by Hillary Clinton, which I gave 4 stars. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren, which I gave 4.5 stars. The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur, which I gave 3.5 stars. Speak, the graphic novel by Lori Halse Anderson with artwork by Emily Carroll, which I gave 5 stars. Moving on to August, I read When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon, which I gave 3 stars. Sight Witch by Susan Dennard, which I gave 3.5 stars. She by Saul Williams, which I gave 4 stars. The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan, which I gave 5 stars. The Reckoning of Noah Shaw by Michelle Hodkins, which I gave 1 star. The Darkest Legacy by Alexandra Bracken, which I gave 4.5 stars. What They Don't Know by Maggie Nicole, which I gave 2 stars. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which I gave 4 stars. And finally, Stolen by Lucy Christopher, which I gave 4 stars. So like I said, if you want to know more about any of the books that I just mentioned beyond my star rating, I will link the corresponding reading vlog that goes with each book down below. Now moving on to my 2 least favorite and my 2 favorite books of the season. Starting with least favorites, let's get the obvious one out of the way. The Reckoning of Noah Shaw, which I gave 1 star. I almost never give 1-star book reviews because I don't read books that I think I'm gonna absolutely hate, but I absolutely hated The Reckoning of Noah Shaw. There was nothing in this book that redeemed it or made it seem at all necessary. Absolutely nothing happens in this book. And not even one of those books where it's like, oh, the plot didn't move forward, but we got to know a lot more about the characters, or we got connections from the previous book and explored that. No, this did nothing. It was just Noah and his friend Goose running around doing shit. I just don't understand why. I read this as an arc, so I'm really hoping that there's like dramatic changes between the arc and the final copy, but I don't think that really happens. I didn't love The Becoming of Noah Shaw, so it's not like I had high hopes going into this, but it was just dreadful. I mean, absolutely nothing happened. Things got even more confusing. It didn't clarify anything that happened in the first book, and it just seems like this was not meant to be a trilogy. Like, this could have probably been a 1-book continuation of the Mara Dyer series rather than a 3-book continuation when there's literally no plot for 3 books. Like, I don't understand it. If you don't know, The Reckoning of Noah Shaw is the 2nd book in the Shaw Files? I don't freaking know. But this is a companion series to the Mara Dyer trilogy. It just takes place in Noah's perspective rather than Mara's. And oh boy, I sure do wish it never existed. My second least favorite is What They Know by Nicole Maggie. This one wasn't bad like Noah Shaw was, where nothing happened. This actually had a lot of important messages that it touched on. Follows these 2 teen girls, and they are writing journal entries for this assignment that their English teacher gave them. So they're like writing to their teacher, and that's what the whole book consists of. And one of the girls comes from a very fundamentalist Christian family, and they're very strict on all their views. They're very conservative, very to the right, definitely Trump supporters. And the other girl that we follow is like the opposite of that. They were friends once, but when they were no longer in the same Girl Scout troop, they kind of disconnected. However, but when one of the girls realized that there's something off with the other one, she starts to try to connect with her again. The girl in question is suffering from a traumatic sexual sexual assault. She was raped, and that rape resulted in a pregnancy, and she's very concerned about what to do because she knows her family would not approve of an abortion, but she doesn't want to have the baby. So it really follows her questioning her faith, questioning what she's always believed and been told to believe, and this other girl trying to help her through this tough situation. So on that aspect, I absolutely commend this book for tackling a topic like this. However, it was just so overly dramatic that it felt like a Lifetime movie. Her Christian family is the most extreme Christian family, like the most stereotypical extreme fundamentalist type, and I think that just ended up giving this book this over dramatic feeling, especially with some of the scenes at the end. I didn't love the writing. I don't think it was anything special, but beyond that, I didn't like that it was written in journal form because I just felt not disconnected necessarily from the characters because it was very much personal, but it just didn't feel like it fit the way the story was trying to flow, especially again at the end. They're writing these journal entries, and the time at which they're apparently writing them just does not make sense. Like, you would not just sit down and be like, I'm gonna write a journal entry. Not to mention everything they're writing about is going to be read by their teacher eventually. One of the girls talks about nearly having sex with her boyfriend, and they go into all this family drama and deciding like, do I get an abortion, do I not? And it just didn't seem realistic that two teenage girls would be writing these kind of things to their teacher. I don't know, like I said, it covers a very important topic and I appreciate it doing that. I just wish it was executed better. Moving on to my two favorites. The first is The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. This was absolutely excellent. If you haven't read it, you must go read it. This is a collection of essays by a young woman named Marina Keegan. Tragically, a few days after she graduated from Yale, she was killed in a car accident. So her friends, family, teachers collected all of these stories that she had written during her time at Yale. There is fiction, nonfiction. The first essay in here especially, which is The Opposite of Loneliness, just hit me so hard. The way she writes and captures these emotions is just so stunning. I really loved the short stories. Some of the nonfiction I kind of skim read a little just because they were more news articles that were probably published in the Yale Daily News rather than just something she wrote for a class. But regardless, this is such an incredible collection of essays. I am so sad that Marina Keegan is no longer around to continue giving us, you know, her words, her stories, because I know she would have done absolutely excellent things. And yeah, you just gotta read this. It's incredible. And my second favorite is Bright We Burn by Kirsten White. This is the final book in the Conquerors Saga trilogy. Obviously, I can't say much about it because it's a finale, but the first book is And I Darken, and it is a Vlad the Impaler retelling, except Vlad is a woman. This series is hard to describe because it conquers such a large period of time. However, what I love about it is that the characters are so incredibly well written. They're all complex, they're all fleshed out, from the dialogue to the action to the political drama. Everything in this series is just so well done. This last book especially was snatching my wig again and again and again. One thing would happen and then the next thing would happen and you're just like, oh my god, all the characters in this is so freaking smart. It's just such an incredible series and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. So that was my summer reading wrap up. Goodbye summer, let fall rain. Fall is my favorite season, so I'm excited. Let me know what you read this summer. Let me know if you have a new favorite or a new least favorite. Know it, y'all. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.